Canada has always been recognized for its diversity, and nowhere is this more apparent than in rural Canada. Millions of Canadians live a rural life, and from sea to sea to sea, the places they call home are often fascinating and unique. And while some of the differences between communities are obvious, like language or physical geography, there are other distinguishing characteristics that are also important in shaping a community's identity.
There's great diversity within rural Canada. Some are well connected to the global economy, some are not. Some have a very stable economy, and some, it fluctuates a great deal. Some of them are close to urban centers, and some of them are far away. Some of them have a high level of institutional capacity, and some don't. And finally, some are leading and some are lagging with respect to socioeconomic types of indicators.
So, rural Canada is diverse. Canadians across the country live in unique places with unique people under unique circumstances. However, there are issues that bind these communities together, and one of these issues, an incredibly important one, is economic. The world economy is changing, and it's important that rural communities keep pace.
The new rural economy is characterized by a number of interesting developments. First of all, it means that there's much more competition at an international level, so that communities are faced with global competition. It also means that there is a massive shift in employment from the primary sector to the service sector. And that means less on resources and more on services provided to people. It also means that there's greater migration as people move more and farther and in and out of communities. That's the new rural economy, and it means that communities have to understand it to learn about what's happening at the global level in order to find what are the best strategies for them to survive under those conditions.
Well, what does this mean? It means that rural Canada is in a period of transition, and rural Canadians are going to have to adapt. A lot of old approaches are simply not going to work in this new economic landscape. At the same time, it means rural Canadians have a tremendous opportunity. An opportunity to play an active role in shaping their communities and an active role in shaping their future. And maybe this seems like a daunting journey, but it is one that can be navigated with success. The New Rural Economy Project, or NRE for short, is a research and education program that's been studying rural Canada since 1998. The project is guided by 15 university researchers from across the country, and the current phase of the project is a 4-year study backed by the Social Sciences and Humanities Research Council. The NRE project has collaborated with 32 communities across the country, holding workshops in many of these locations and often collaborating directly with various community leaders. The researchers, students, and rural people involved have discovered much in the process. Perhaps the most important realization of all is that there's a substantial capacity for rural communities to organize themselves, their assets, and their resources in order to succeed in the new economy.
Communities in Canada have a different constellation of what we call assets. These include natural assets, such as trees, clean water, soil, climate. They include human capital, or human assets, which are basically the skills and abilities of the local population, both formal skills and informal skills that they may have. Social capital, which are sort of the collective social networks and relationships people have within the community and with people outside the community. And then economic capital, which is sort of the savings, the tax base, and the invested infrastructure in the community. So basically, communities want to turn these assets into something good or beneficial for the community. So in order to do this, they have to operate through different, what we call 4 different relational spheres. The first one are market relations, and those have to do with buying and selling, basically the economic sphere. Secondly is the bureaucratic sphere, which typically deals with government organizations, but other bureaucratic organizations. The third one is the associative sphere, which are basically non-government organizations, the voluntary sector. And finally, the communal sphere, which is the more informal network of kinship and friendship relations within a community.
Rural Canada's path to the future must be creative and innovative if communities intend to thrive. Sometimes that means adapting the processes of community management. Other times, it means taking advantage of untapped assets or developing new assets. Either way, the first steps taken towards change can often lead to additional changes, and there are many paths that lead to a prosperous future. The NRE project has spent the past 4 years studying and working with rural communities, and this video series draws from those experiences. The videos cover communities and people from across the country and reflect important NRE research findings as well as the efforts of rural Canadians to adapt to the new economy. We hope these videos capture the rural experience. We hope they serve as inspiring examples of initiative and transformation. And ultimately, we hope that these videos serve as helpful tools in your efforts to understand rural Canada, rural Canadians, and perhaps even your own community. More information on the NRE project is available at nre.concordia.ca. The NRE website is a great place to start learning more about the project and what it's discovered about the new economy and rural Canadians.